with the first day being in full pads? Did you like where the physicality of your group was at, and just how did you think that they approached the day?
Obviously, I thought, they being sixth day, I thought they looked like it was the sixth day. I think early on, I've really liked the energy and the way the guys have approached practice. Today, it started, wearing on them a little bit. That we got to continue to push the needle and continue to get mentally and physically tougher and be able to fight through those situations. But overall, I thought it was good. We did have a couple guys get banged up, so guys got more reps. When we start limiting other guys with reps, then other guys increase the reps. But that's a game situation, So they got to learn how to fight through and be able to push themselves when they think they can.
Austin and Vince. Two things. Can you talk about Omar Norman Lott and what he's brought from spring into fall camp, how much he's kind of grown? And then two, when you look back a couple years ago, what your room looked like when you first got here, and now what it looks like. I know those freshmen aren't necessarily ready, but they at least look the part. How good is that to kind of see the development as far as just building the room up?
Well, obviously, I definitely think Omar Lott is definitely an upgrade for us. He's a young man that's got, a body of work, even though it's in a different conference. So he's got a little bit more maturity to him. And then when you sit there and look at this kid, he has a skill set. He has power. He has initial quickness. He knows how to maneuver his body and slip and just naturally make some plays. He can really run. The thing I thought, initially coming into camp, I thought he may be just a tad bit, too heavy. And I think, now he's starting to trim down, and his athleticism is starting to show even more, which I think as he continues to really get himself into better shape, I think we will see even a much better product than what he's shown thus far. Along the lines of, changing the culture of the room, I do feel like we are moving the room in the right direction. Now we've got peers holding each other accountable. And that's what you want. If you're ever going to have a championship caliber program or team, you got to have the leadership coming from within. And now you're seeing guys start to hold each other more accountable. And it's just not just the coaches where, they're sitting there and say, hey, that's not our standard. That's not how we do things. And I think if we can keep moving in that direction, then we'll be able to achieve better results.
David Bradley told us that he enjoys being yelled at, and that he's thanked you for the tough coaching you've given him. How unique is it to have a kid with that kind of perspective on the football field?
Really. I think David's just trying to get some brownie points. But, I really don't like yelling at him, and I wish I didn't have to yell at him. So, I'd like for him to just do a better job and be more physical and just take the coaching and not try to kiss up to the teacher.
Coach, a couple of things. You talked about some of the players are holding others accountable. Who are some of those guys that are sort of kind of not controlling, but holding others accountable?
Obviously, Big O, Amari Thomas, is a good leader. I think his leadership is continuing to grow. I think Tyler Barron's had the best offseason that he's had since we've been here. I've seen maturity come from him. I think Elijah Simmons is growing. I think Don Bailey's growing. So you're starting to see some growth, from multiple people. Roman Harrison's had a good camp. And, starting to, do things, the Tennessee way and not so much doing things their way. And I just think, it's becoming, contagious, and just not being afraid to call one another out. You know what I'm saying? That's what real leadership is, just being willing to be different and to be out front and to be able to take a stand. Because a lot of times, some guys don't want to go the wrong way. They just want somebody to be willing to step out and go the right way so they can follow that guy. And, I think we're seeing a lot more of that. And obviously we need to see more, because you don't really have to be an older guy, to be a leader. It's just about, how you're doing it every day. Talk is cheap. You got to be able to walk the walk. Nobody wants to hear you talk about it when you're not doing it, So just being able to lead by example, being that pace setter, getting there early, staying late, attention to details, those are the things that it's going to take for us to reach the goals that we're setting for ourselves.
And looking at that leader position, you got some young guys there, some sophomores, a couple freshmen. What have you seen from that group in terms of from the spring to now? Is there a difference?
Oh yeah, I think you got length, you got athleticism, you're starting to, you're looking like a championship caliber room supposed to look. So obviously we all got to continue to get stronger. We all got to continue to get more explosive. We've all got to be more conscientious of our fundamentals and our technique and all those different things. But I do like the athleticism, and I like the guys being willing to buy in, and I like the guys, really as of this point, not showing selfishness, that they're starting to think about their teammates, starting to think about the program, and putting others first. Like I said, if we can do that, then I think we can achieve a lot of good things, and then there's going to be a lot more rewards for everybody to go around, if we'll put the team first.
Adam and Casey. Coach, we think of guys on the D-line that can get into the backfield against the run, and there's also guys that are good pass rushers. Are those skill sets that different?
No, obviously, coming out of last season, you sit there and one of the things we sit there is self-scouting. We said, we've got to become a better four-man, pass rush team. We can't always rely on bringing 5 or bringing 6. So we've got to be able to affect the quarterback with a four-man rush. And then we've also got to be able to finish the rush. A couple of times we had some good rushes, but then we did a poor job of knocking the quarterback down. And we didn't maintain our rush integrity, our lanes, and didn't do a really good job of keeping them in the pocket. And I do understand the conference that we're in. There are some elite guys that can really run, but, that's part of the job description. We've got to be able to affect the guy, get him off the spot, and then we've got to be able to finish the rush. So, we did a really good job as far as TFLs, but we've got to do a better job as far as being a four-man pass rush team.
Is there an example of one guy who was really good at TFLs and you think has to be a better pass rusher?
I think they all got to be better pass rushers. I said we as a team need to be better as a four-man rush. So that means all the way across the board. Obviously we lost a lot of production with BY, losing him. So somebody's got to be willing to step and be that bell cow. And then when you sit there and you look at Bumpus, he had a really good year. I don't know, I don't think he got nearly the credit or the recognition for some of the things that he was able to do. But when you went there and you looked at the cut-ups, he was a guy that was very effective and just did things the right way. So we just got to get everybody has to elevate their game. I'm talking man for man, coach for coach. It's not just player driven; it's coach driven too. We got to do a better job of teaching it and demanding it, and then getting the end result.
The athleticism that Elijah Simmons has for his size, how does that make him so valuable on the interior of the defensive line?
Elijah, he is a powerful big man. He does have initial quickness, short area quickness. He's got built-in pad level and leverage. He's just got to learn to. His biggest enemy is just, is when fatigue sets in. When he gets tired, everybody knows he switched his number to 10, and like I'm saying, if you're a D lineman wearing 10, you need to be elite, so my challenge to him, sometimes 10 shows up to practice, sometimes 51 shows up, so we just got to figure out who you are, what you want to be, so, 10 and 51 are different guys, so, if he's going to be 10, then he needs to get himself in really, really good shape and be able to play out the whole game like 10.
Ryan and Rob.
Kind of touched on a minute ago, Tyler Barron, his off season. What difference have you seen in maybe his mindset and approach? Is there some motivation there just being a senior, and then also where has he gotten better as a player this off season?
Well, I think he's matured, a lot. and I think he's grown, as a young man, and I think he's bought in more, to the team concept, and I think he's being more of a team guy, more of a Tennessee guy than a Tyler guy, and then I think he's starting to see that if Tennessee does well, then Tyler Barron's going to do well. You know what I'm saying? But if Tennessee does poorly, then odds are, Tyler Barron's not going to do as well. So, and that's everybody. That's not just Tyler. That's everybody. Just getting them to understand that this is a team sport, and it's the greatest team sport out there. And just them understanding how blessed they are to have an opportunity to play at a program like this, to play in this conference, to play with the type of young men that they're playing with, that we're just all truly blessed, and we just need to understand that, these are once-in-a-lifetime opportunities, so we need to bond together. We work extremely hard, but if we need to bond together and make it special, because, if we're all pulling the rope in the same direction, then we definitely got an opportunity to do some special things.
Coach, as you get started in the first week of fall camp, how beneficial is it to have so much staff continuity like you guys have had, being there for 3 years on that side of the ball?
Well, I think it's a blessing for us to be together, for 3 years. I think that shows even in the team. I think we're so much farther ahead being 3 years into the program. Our kids are so much farther ahead with the system, as far as making the checks, making the adjustments, understanding the defense, being able to fix things, when they're not, quite right. So, that's been, that's really comforting. And then, obviously I think Coach Hype, he does a really good job of being a great leader, that he doesn't let you become stale or stagnant. So you don't have to worry about that. But I do think, guys knowing each other, pulling the rope in the same direction. There's no hidden agendas. Coach Hype's done a really good job of setting the compass of where we're going, and everybody's following that direction.
Last question, Wes.
What's been the key with getting Elijah to kind of push through that and be more consistent? Is it as simple as getting in better shape or fighting through it, or what's been that process? What's that process?
Well, I think, obviously, just getting into better shape, growing, maturing, maybe even feeling, somewhat, unfulfilled, just because he's a guy, he'd sit there and tell you, when I first came and first met him, got around, and I was like, man, you remind me so much of Geno Atkins. I thought he's going to be like that, just that initial quickness, that short area quickness, that explosiveness. He just reminded me of Geno, who I had at Georgia. And, for whatever reason, he would start out always with a bang, but then some kind of way, somewhere along the line, he hit a little adversity and would always fade away. So hopefully, he had a great spring. I didn't say a great spring, had a really good spring. And like I told him in the evaluation after spring ball, the challenge was going to be, was he going to pick up where he left off in spring, or were we going to start all the way back over again? So that, I can tell you, thus far through camp, he's really having a really good start of camp. So, and I think he sees that. So hopefully he's gaining a little bit of more confidence. Hopefully he likes, the direction he's heading in, and we all just got to keep encouraging and pushing and prodding and all that. It's just like I told the guys the other day, obviously if you can't push yourself, then you need to be a man enough to be able to allow others to push you. Because there's some guys that can't push themselves, but then they got to allow their teammates to push them or allow their coaches to push them. But now if you can't push yourself and you won't allow others to push you, then we got a problem. Then we're not going to be able to get where we want to get to. And I think now he is allowing, his teammates to push him when he hits that wall. He's allowing the coaching to push him in the right direction and not let it be all a negativity thing. So hopefully he's growing and maturing in that area right there.
Thank you, Coach.